Hello guys, I'm here to remind you that you are awesome. And this is not a headshot. This is not a headshot. But this is a headshot. How is this even possible? I'm going to have to ask you to suspend your disbelief for a few minutes. The targeting in Project Zomboid does not use the weapon model. Instead, it appears to be a lot simpler in just checking for the closest target in range. Zombies, especially knockdown zombies, have 3 targets you can hit: the legs, the body, and the head. The legs take damage in unstable build 41.76, and I'm pretty sure they took no damage in older builds, although I haven't checked exactly which build it changed them. I assume this is to stop infinite experience grinding by stomping the zombies' feet without killing them. If you didn't know, by holding a weapon in your hands while stomping, you can gain strength and maintenance experience without wasting the durability of your weapon. Anyway, the body takes a decent amount of damage, and the head of course takes the most damage. By the way, you can kill the zombies by attacking the body or feet. Go ahead and write an essay about the lore implications in the comments. If you go into debug mode, you can turn on the aim cone option to see where your character is aiming. The little yellow circles line up with the 3 hitboxes: feet, hips, and head. You might question why the body hitbox is on the hips, but remember, if it's targeting based on the distance, you have to put the targets as far apart as possible so that the players can choose where they hit. That's the key point here. This is a body shot. This is a headshot. Standing on a zombie to stop it from standing up is so tempting that many players will end up accidentally doing body shots very frequently. This is also the default position if you just knocked the zombie down and made a beeline for its head. I can prove that these are body shots very easily with a mod to show the damage numbers. To test this, I will be taking many damage reducing traits and effects. This way I don't have to find a new zombie every other hit. For the traits, I'll go with weak, agoraphobic, very underweight, and hemophobic. With the help of agoraphobic and hemophobic, I'll be fully panicked and a nervous wreck. Very underweight and weak reduce melee damage. Being fully tired and exhausted will also reduce my damage. The numbers on screen are based off of these 2 mods. I cannot guarantee they are correct, but they do feel right. All of this put together means my character will barely do any damage, even with the bonus attacking a prone zombie provides. With the help of the mod combat text, we can see the amount of damage my character is doing. If you want to see the actual numbers for the zombie's health rather than a health bar, I would recommend the mod damage and zombie's health instead. So at this point, I'll have to interrupt the proof to explain a combat mechanic in Zomboid. When you hit a zombie several times in a short period, you start doing more damage. I'll add the number of swings on screen, but for the rest of the video I'll point out when I gained this buff and try to avoid showing any important numbers without already having the buff. If you are sitting here questioning how you were ever supposed to find out about such a mechanic, don't worry, I've postponed my obligatory rant until after the headshot explanation. So here you are, battling 2 zombies. You knocked one down and stood on top of it while you fought off the other. Now it's time to dispose of the incapacitated meatbag. You're already standing on its chest. How do you land a headshot? The answer is to walk onto its head and start swinging at the ground. With the aim cone option on, I'll start attacking this zombie's feet until I gain the damage buff. Now I can attack its body and finally, the head. You can see a clear difference in damage between the body and the head. This is where the suspension of disbelief is necessary. Aside from keeping the zombie within your attack range as denoted by the cone on the ground, aiming changes nothing in this scenario. Holding the isometric cursor over the zombie's head changes nothing. Making the weapon model hit its head changes nothing. The only thing that matters in this case being which target is closer to your character, the head or the hips. The longer the weapon, the more likely you would have stood far back near the zombie's legs while trying to aim for its head. There is a silver lining to this. Any other case where you approached the downed zombie from its head side without walking on top should always be a headshot. It doesn't matter if your weapon model hits its chest, it's still a headshot because you were closer to the head. I'll name this system the auto-aim system, because the player only needs to generally point in the direction of the zombie they want to hit, and it targets the closest one. The auto-aim system is a little sketchy in its choices, sometimes targeting trees, cars, and windows over zombies. This is one of the reasons I recommend using the forced ground attack keybind. The system will preferentially target a standing zombie over a knockdown one, which is a good thing as a standing zombie is the immediate threat, but the range it prefers standing zombies is a little too far for the speed of a fast shambler. This makes it really hard to squeeze in a free shot on a down zombie when you really need to without using the keybind for it. However, I do not think the auto-aim system is the real issue with the headshot problem. The issue, in my opinion, is the lack of effective feedback given to the player. If the player had good feedback that they were not in fact hitting the head, they would naturally walk a little closer and find the proper range to do so. It's game design rant time. Let's list the ways Project Zomboid appears to be giving feedback that you are hitting a weak spot. 1. Your cursor was over the weak spot when you attacked. 2. Your weapon model hits the weak spot. 3. Visual feedback when you hit the weak spot, for example, extra blood splatter. 4. An audio cue, such as the sweet melon smashing sound that goes off when a zombie dies. I've already proven the isometric cursor is a misleading form of feedback in this video. Hell, if you look up any newbie guide to Project Zomboid right now, I would bet they mention holding the isometric cursor over the zombie's head to target it. That doesn't mean the isometric cursor should go away just because it misleads people. And if you do feel the need to correct guides or others in their comments, do it in a kind and courteous way. The isometric cursor exists because of a simple issue with aiming in an isometric game: parallax. You may have experienced this issue in third-person shooter style games. When you point your reticle on a target, the actual source of the projectile in-game points towards the reticle. Sometimes there can be an object in between the weapon and the target that is not in the way from your perspective. First-person shooter games tend to get around this issue by having the bullets come out of your head, which leads to head glitching. Project Zomboid doesn't exactly have any projectile weapons aside from maybe throwing a Molotov, which does not need much precision. But the parallax at certain angles can be so bad that it throws off your aim even in melee. The second on the list is also already proven misleading, but it's probably perfectly fine. Aside from the targeting issue with downed zombies, the attack animations do a good job at appearing to be the source of damage and informing you of what kind of attack you are doing. Next is visual feedback, such as blood splatter. There are some posts about the amount of giblets coming off a zombie as you hit it, showing how much damage you are doing, and I think this is true. When I hit the zombie's head during the test, it does give off more giblets than the feet, for example, and this kind of mechanic is very common among games, but it has two fatal flaws in Project Zomboid. The first is that it's barely visible, and you rarely get to hit a zombie multiple times in different places. You have no choice on where you hit a standing zombie, and knockdown zombies take so much extra damage they tend to die in 2 hits, if not a single glorious crunch. The death blow tends to have tons of giblets no matter what, too, which helps obscure the mechanic. The second is a major performance issue. Blood decals in Zomboid completely wreck your FPS. Because of this, we have options to turn it down or off. While you may still see the giblets, the blood splatter is completely optional. You can make the game way more bloody or not bloody at all. Due to this, I do not believe this is a good way to indicate damage in Zomboid. No, I'm not saying Zomboid needs to add damage numbers into the vanilla game, but that its current system has nowhere near enough feedback for the casual player. That leads us into the last possible feedback mechanic: audio cues. You might think that the sound that plays when a zombie dies is evidence of head smashing, and you would be wrong. That sound plays when you kill a zombie by hitting its feet. It plays when you dispatch one via body hits, and it plays when a zombie burns to death. Even better, the player makes the same sound when they die. By the way, it is a real sound in the game world. Zombies will come to investigate when they hear another zombie die. The current hit sounds in the game change based on the weapon you are using, but not the spot of the zombie you are hitting. So no, Zomboid doesn't have an audio cue for a headshot, but it should have one. This is, in my opinion, the best and simplest way that developers can give instant feedback on whether the player is doing something right or wrong without any change to the graphical style of the game. All of the hidden combat mechanics in the game should have their own sounds that teach you what to do. Attacking at near max range should be obvious. Attacking a zombie that hasn't noticed you should sound meatier. Landing several hits in a row should start sounding truly savage once the damage bonus kicks in. They already have something like this in the game. When a zombie scratches or lacerates you, it plays a different set of sounds than when a zombie bites you. A bite being guaranteed death of your character for those who have wandered into this video without playing Zomboid and somehow made it this far. That apple crunching bite sound is instantly recognizable in the source of many rage quits. This is exactly what Project Zomboid needs more of. It doesn't need to babysit you with floating numbers. It needs to feed you the dopamine drip of satisfying head-smashing sounds that fill you with the confidence that you are the main character, only to instantly switch to stomach-churning dread as you mess up and hear the screams of your character when they are dragged down and eaten.